In your city, a disease has begun to spread, and no one knows who will die first. At first, it feels like nothing. A cough, a fever, a bit of fatigue. But by day 2, a black lump begins to swell beneath your neck, pulsing, as if something inside is trying to tear its way out. Then, the bruises spread across your body, start to vomit blood. The fever burns your mind and your eyes freeze on the ceiling. But no one knows where this disease came from. It started with a dock worker who collapsed, then the man who shook his hand, then that man's entire family. Some blamed the rats, others the cats, and some whispered,
"You don't need contact, just the wind will do."
So people stopped speaking. They stopped making eye contact. The doctors had no answers, no treatment. The quarantine wards were full. The dead were taken away at night. In carts no one followed. The city went quiet. The fear spread without a name. No one knew what it looked like, where it came from, or who it would choose next. Only one thing was certain. It wouldn't stop. And someday, it would call your name too. The plague begins now. Part 1. The lockdown begins. It all started in a quiet apartment hallway. On April 16th, Dr. Ria stepped out of his home and saw a rat, dead, bleeding from the mouth. He paused.
Strange.
And kept walking. The next day, 3 more rats in the hallway. The day after, 10 in the whole building. By the end of the week, the streets were full of dead rats, bloated, bloody, and everywhere. People joked.
Mass rodent suicide?
The jokes didn't last long. The building's concierge, Michel, collapsed. High fever. A black swelling under his neck. They took him to the hospital. The next morning, he was dead. The doctors were confused.
Never seen this before.
Only Rio understood. This was the plague, the same plague that swept through medieval Europe. He ran to City Hall, tried to warn them.
Doctor, are you serious? The plague? In the 20th century?
Meanwhile, the death toll rose. 10 a day, then 30, then 50. Newspapers printed numbers. No one had answers. The government called it a temporary fever. On April 30th, a secret meeting was held. The mayor, doctors, officials. They made a decision. The next morning, the radio announced, starting today, the city of Oran is under full lockdown. 200,000 people trapped, no way in, no way out. They didn't know yet what would happen in this prison. Part 2. Trapped. 1 hour after the lockdown, the train station was flooded. People screamed.
This is insane. I don't even live here.
Among them was a journalist, Lambert. He had come for a story, and now he couldn't leave. His lover was waiting in Paris. Every day he ran to City Hall.
Please let me out. I was only here for a day.
The answer was always the same.
Sorry. No exceptions.
Then one night someone whispered to him,
If you have money, there's a way.
Smugglers.
Warehouse 3, midnight, 1 week from now.
Lambert didn't know. 3 other reporters had tried and vanished. Meanwhile, Grand, a government clerk in his 50s, was writing, every night, the same sentence, again and again.
On a beautiful May morning, a woman rode her horse along the park.
Then he'd erase it, rewrite it.
On a bright May morning, a woman rode down the park path.
People thought he'd lost his mind. But Grand whispered to himself,
If I write the perfect sentence, she'll come back.
who was she? Then there was Cottard, a man who had once tried to end his life. When the plague came, he laughed.
Now everyone's afraid of death, just like me.
He ran into the street, screaming.
It's not just me anymore. We're all the same now.
People thought he was mad. Then something strange happened. People started visiting Cottard because he wasn't afraid. He was calm,
How do you stay so at peace?
they asked. And then a new face appeared. Tarot, well-dressed, quiet, watching. He walked up to Dr. Rio.
I'd like to help.
Rio looked puzzled.
It's dangerous. You don't have to.
Tarot smiled.
I think I do.
He didn't say why he was in the city, or why he wasn't afraid to die. Part 3. The fight begins. May came, and the truth surfaced. 300 deaths a day. But still, the government lied.
Everything is under control.
One night, Dr. Rio saw the trucks, heading out of town, lined up in silence. Inside, bodies. No coffins. No names. The government said,
Not enough crematoriums.
but really, they were dumping them into pits. Rio clenched his fists,
This isn't human.
so he stayed, worked 20 hours a day, treated everyone he could. Tarot returned.
I'm here to help.
Rio shook his head.
You could die.
Tarot said,
I already have. I've killed someone before. Now I want to save someone.
Rio froze.
What? What did you say?
Tarot didn't answer. He rolled up his sleeves and began. Meanwhile, Lambert prepared to escape. Midnight. Warehouse 3. He had everything. A bag of money. His ticket out.
Here, let me go.
The smugglers looked at him.
Plans changed. The price is double.
He hesitated, then handed it over.
I'll pay.
He stepped toward the boat and stopped. In Paris, someone he loved was waiting. But here, hundreds were dying every day. If I leave now, I'll never forgive myself. He turned back, found Ryu.
I want to help.
And Grand? He stayed at his desk, recording numbers.
278 dead, 543 new cases.
Cold, precise, as if it were nothing. Someone asked him.
How do you stay so calm?
Grand replied,
Writing a perfect sentence. That too is fighting the plague.
No one knew. Every night, he cried alone. The story he wrote for 10 years. It wasn't a novel. It was a letter. To the woman he lost.
On a beautiful May morning, a woman rode her horse along the park.
Part 4. The darkest hour. Then came the darkest hour. Judge Othon's son fell ill. A child. Quiet. Pale. Burning with fever. Doctors tried a new serum. But the seizures began. His body twisted. His mouth foamed. His eyes searched the ceiling. Ryu stood by. Taro beside him. Father Panaloo, too. All watching. Helpless. The boy didn't scream. He only gasped. Slower each time. And then he stopped. Rhea turned to the priest.
If there is a God, why must an innocent child suffer like this?
Panaloo had no answer. Days later, he too was taken by the plague. The city grew quiet. The streets emptied. Hope vanished. People whispered,
We're all going to die. This is God's punishment.
and then something unexpected. Grand fell ill. He collapsed at his desk, burning up. Everyone thought,
This is the end.
but he opened his eyes. He lived. He stood slowly, walked outside, carrying something in his hands, a manuscript, 10 years of his life. He set it on fire. The flames rose. Pages turned to ash. He watched them disappear.
It's time to begin again. Simpler, truer.
Part 5. The End of the Plague. January came, and with it, change. The numbers dropped. 300 deaths, then 200, then 100. People stared at each other, careful, afraid to hope. By February, only 50. One morning, the radio spoke. The plague is over. The city gates will reopen. Doors unlocked, windows opened. People stepped outside, blinking, laughing, crying, touching. 10 months of silence, broken in a single breath. Lambert waited by the station, and there she was, his lover from Paris. They said nothing, just held hands. Grand returned to his desk, a blank page, a clean start. This time, I'll write something honest. For her, for myself. Taro didn't make it. He passed away quietly. Rhea held his hand, didn't speak. Cottard snapped. With the plague gone, he was alone again. He fired a gun into the street. The police took him away. He was crying.
I'm alone. Again.
That night, Rhea sat at his desk and began to write. I record this so it won't be forgotten. That plague destroys, but it also reveals. It shows who we are, what we choose, how we endure. He paused. The plague is gone. But the plague germ never dies. It hides in drawers, in cellars, in handkerchiefs, in forgotten papers. It sleeps until the day it wakes again and sends rats into another happy city. He put down his pen, opened the window. Outside, he could hear people laughing, and for the first time, the stars. Closing in the face of the absurd. What is a plague? Not just a disease, not just death. It's a moment when the world loses meaning, when logic collapses, when the innocent suffer, and no one can explain why. Simply put, the world is irrational, yet humans keep demanding meaning and order. And when the world says there are no answers, we go on living anyway. We heal, we write, we love, we resist, even knowing how it all ends. That is the heart of the absurd, to stand in a world without reason, and still choose to care, still choose to act, still choose to hope. Ryu knew he couldn't win, but he fought anyway, not to be a hero, not to uncover some grand purpose, but simply because it was the right thing to do. That's how we defeat the plague. Not with cures, not with certainty, but with resistance, with decency, with courage. Absurdity never disappears, but neither do those who refuse to look away.